It's a journey, y'all. It's called the journey within. That's what my friend said to me. She said,
Genius.
there's no greater journey than the journey within.
Yo, what's good, Soul Tribe? Hope you're doing well, doing swell. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Oh my goodness, just as I started, the candles just started flickering. So, yo, if that's anything, oh my word. Yeah, it's just like a sign that spirit's like, yo, we here, we're live, we're direct. I was late to pulling out this deck today. And interestingly, just as I was pulling this out, I had like a little bit of like extra saliva or like, like drool, I would call it that. I don't know. I think it was like a bit of excitement as well because I just took a sip of my tea, but it's just making me think like, yo, maybe there's so much to be said at this point in time. I always take these like little happenings at the beginning of the reading as some kind of synchronicity, and like 9 out of 10 times it ends up meaning something later on. I think especially in review, I noticed that. But yes, I was saying I was led to using this Moonology card deck, so we're gonna get out a card from here, as well as, oh, my left ear is going off right now, so definitely confirmation. And then we're gonna get out a card from this Energy Oracle cards deck, right? This Moonology, if you wanna see what the cover looks like, there you go, gang. Let me just put this aside. At the bottom we have nothing is yet set in stone, mutable moon. All right. Welcome to Root Holistic. Okay, you're saying this one right here. Okay. Welcome to Root Holistic, gang. Oh, you want this one up as well? Okay. Listen, Spirit, I ain't gonna hold you, gang. This one too. Wow, you wanna go? Okay. No. But this one? Yes. Okay. Okay, for a moment I thought Spirit wanted to like go all the way with all of these cards. But yes, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope it's great. I hope it's amazing. And yes, just let it be great. Let it be great. As always, I wish you well. If at any point in time you're feeling like this reading is hitting the spot, you know what to do. Also hit the spots at the bottom. But yes, let's go in. Okay, so we got 5 cards. Oh my word. My left ear, guys, has not stopped like, tingling, I would say. But we've got an interesting set of cards over here. Wow. Oh my word. Can we get the full picture? Yes. Okay. But not... Oh, what are you saying, Spirit? Okay, we're going for the full picture. All right, good. But I think this one is okay. This is of course not the original box, but yes, if you do want to check that out, Energy Oracle cards by Sandra and Taylor. Okay, at the bottom of this one, before going into the shuffle, we've got the World. So we had nothing yet is yet set in stone at the back there of the Moonology, and now the World here. So wow. And like I'm thinking about here's something. Rick Ross just released an album called Set in Stone. And of course, if we think about something being set in stone, we're thinking of it as being cemented, like long lasting, established. It's, again, outside of me thinking long lasting, established, it's something that also like stands the test of time, so it's like it's tried and tested and passed, it's proven that's ultimately what's coming to mind. But if what is not yet set in stone, which is of course one of the cards that Spirit led us to pulling out, okay, we want to read these two together, got you. The world as we know it, what we are, the chapters that we are closing, the chapters that we are even about to get into, our whole reality, our whole experience is still malleable, it's still mutable, right? It's still in our ability or capability to construct, perhaps even in some cases deconstruct it so it can be reconstructed all over again. It's just giving that thought of like, what do you want in your world? You know, it's like, hey, I give you the whole world because you're my girl. Like, let's go around, let it twirl. Like, you know, the boy got a rhyme all the time. You know how we do over here. But clock the tea, man. Clock the tea. Actually, let me take a sip of my tea one time. Hold up. While I do that, you know, I'm thinking about that song by KRS-One as well. That step into my world. So it's again, this is your playground. This is your playing field where you can create or determine things as you will or want them to be. So yeah, definitely about like a question. I think, you know, a lot. It's interesting now, like that I'm actually going into this energy. I was asked by a colleague 2 times on 2 consecutive days, like, what is the universe saying today? And the first time I answered him, I told him the universe is saying namaste. And then today, I told him the universe is saying yes. So, you know, just bringing that experience into this reading, all I can think of is there's one, a recognition and a posing of a question, and that question is being asked to recognize. And then the second time the same question is asked, now there's a posturing, there's an alignment to that question, you know. And I must tell you, when he asked me the first time, I was like, hey, like, I wonder if I could have answered that differently, not anticipating that it would be asked again. But here I was about to say answered again, and that's it, that thing. You've been given a second opportunity, or another merry-go-round, you know, ring around the rosy, if you want to call it that, where again it's like that circle, right? You stepping into this portal, you doing this quantum leap, this timeline jump from, you know, perhaps even like the dark to the light, because I'm looking at how it's you could say first quarter moon over here. Actually, is it first quarter right now? I think we might be going into new moon, but it's like waxing gibbous, so like kind of in between that. But oh wow, I mean, in between the phases, right? And here I am, having been drawn to pulling out the Moonology card, so it's like, okay, here's it all coming together. But yeah, in between the phases, you have an opportunity to do something again, or, you know, it returns, I would say, and now you get to respond differently, because now you've had this time to recognize the energy and see it for what it is, and like it's like you meet the energy and you understand, like, oh, okay, this was maybe like the classroom, and then like first go around, and then the second go around turns out to be like the test or the examination, and then you go into the second go round much more prepared. So if you only had a portion of the world and it was not set in stone, here's your chance to cement it in stone. Be very direct, be very, again, postured and aligned with what it is that you want or that is suited for you. So, yo, man, that's crazy. Okay. All right, Spirit, it's fine. I'll take it. I saw it. So, okay, I'll go this one as well. This way. Okay, cool. Right, so it looks like we got like a group here, like 2, and then let's see what you got for these 3 over here. Oh wow, the world again, and I oh wow, the world is in the middle. Okay, where are we going? Left. Okay, and then this one on the right. Okay, bet. All right, and then at the back of this deck we have the temple path, but I'll take it in reverse. I ain't tripping. I think it's gonna be interesting. So a lot of oracles, you know, whenever oracle cards, right? But whenever this like kind of reading happens, because I don't plan like what kind of reading I'm gonna do, I know that like Spirit wants me to like feel into the message, and a lot of the times when that happens, I tend to just, you know, use a lot of examples and, you know, just describe the energy. So wherever you at within this collective, however this is relating to you, I'm also trying to understand like why Spirit has like, you know, kind of got me to divide this one part from the other part. So I don't know if it's like 2 messages, 2 aspects, but of course I'm just like, you know, opening up the channel just so I can like dive into it. But Yeah, I think this is going to be like interesting. I can already like sense that, it's like a can of worms is being opened, but not necessarily worms like in a bad sense, but it's like, it's like the energy is like, jumbled up, and we're about to unpack this whole thing. Um, okay, Spirit saying start on this side. Interestingly, there I am talking about unpacking, and if you can see on the camera, like I've actually got these cards like stacked on top of each other. So with that in mind, it's like, yo, why is this energy like kind of like stepping on itself? It's kind of like I mentioned earlier, these two cards wanted to be read together, and here we have another two cards wanting to be read together, and it's thinking about the order that these cards came out in. I mean, we saw this nothing yet is yet set in stone first, and then this happy family in reverse came out first, and then we kind of like taking a step back. So now we're asking ourselves, like, how did this energy get packed up? How did the energy align in this particular order, manner, fashion, right? And then from being so within the energy at a certain point, it's like it boomerangs, it kind of like takes a step back just so it can like come back around all over again. Here I'm talking about a boomerang, and I was like watching an episode of Survivor, and it's Survivor season 50, where they have something called a boomerang idol, where if somebody doesn't use it, it actually goes back, it boomerangs to the person who found it. So wow, okay, you see where I was at with the examples. Here we go. So anyways, let's start on this side, right? So what we have is the end of a tough cycle approaches. Wow. Okay, and then we have the nothing is yet set in stone. Then we have the action with two horses there, a dark horse, a light horse. That's already making me think about a previous reading, right? Yes, the last one, or the second last one that we did. And then this happy family in reverse. Wow. Wow. Goodness gracious. To just like, oh, I'm getting all these shivers like right now. And you know what's kind of coming to the most right now? It's how we come together with our families. Like, let's say it's an event, it's an occasion, like the holidays or Christmas, or the things like that. Well, what's that one around like March time? Easter. Yeah, so they are like holidays, Thanksgiving. You get what I mean? Like, there are those types of holidays, Kwanzaa, like you name it, Diwali, Eid. But we come together with our families, and I think there's a certain, okay, this is very, oh goodness, this is very much like in the crown right now, because it's coming through as like, intuitive hit. So the thinking around this is more about like the expectation of what a family is, and there's this feeling or this adjustment in this energy because it's been packed up. It's like preconceived notions or ideas, it's like conditioning over time. It's like, you kind of, in this image here, we see a family being a mother, a father, the kids, or outside of, let's say, a family structure, it's even like the things that a family does. So with this being under the nothing yet is set in stone, and it's the second time or third or fourth time I say it like that, and of course there are four people here. So the word that I keep skipping over is. So we know that what is like, you don't even need to say anything after that, because what is ... that's just existence, that's just life, that's just God. And I'm being reminded of even how I'm jumping around right now, trying to like unpack this energy, because it's like, I describe it like opening a can of worms. You're just seeing all the worms, like, going in all these different directions. It's even giving me like an image of I remember, like, as a kid, like playing in the sand or playing in the dirt, and then like, just, let's say, digging up a bunch of sand and like seeing a bunch of earthworms and stuff. But it's that, again, that is touching on the neuro, oh my word, like the words right now are escaping me, the neuro expansive nature that I have, which is like kind of leading me to, kind of jump around and stuff, because how do you describe the vastness, the expansion, or the expansiveness of just things that is, like existence. Existence is in any form, tangible or intangible, but because it just is, we give meaning, life, weight, value, worth to things that are part of our existence, right? So, I mean, just bringing this back to the family, it's to say, we can go so far in our pursuit of a family, in our understanding of family, in our upholding of family. I mean, man, there's just so many things that we can assign to what a family, quote unquote, should or could or would be like. But to take this card very literally, if it is happy family in the upright, then I could say it's unhappy family. But for me, it's coming through not more about the happiness, but more about the idea of what a community, a tribe, umphakathi is supposed to be. And there I am talking about Survivor and this boomerang, right? So it's like, even as people come together, they form a tribe, they form a unit, and there are binding morals or principles or rules that they live by that maintain said structure, said organization. So if nothing is yet set in stone, this to me feels like, you have an opportunity to, still find your soul tribe, still find the group of people that are going to resonate and align with your energy, with your pursuit, with whatever it is that you are seeking to do, achieve, accomplish. It's also coming across as like a safe space, or like a coven, like, let's say witches have a coven. So it's like the people that you get to express with, that you get to create with. And even now, Spirit's kind of like, okay, wait, don't go too far with this thing. Like, I'm getting this sign to like kind of pause and take it easy. And I think that's where we kind of got to that point of, we realized what it was, but then we're needing to take that step back, right? So cool, we now take this step back, and I think it's going to all connect. I'm just kind of like touching on the energy again. Like I mentioned, it feels like a can of worms, right? But we take this step back, and it says the end of a tough cycle approaches, and we've got action. So okay, from crown now it's going into a feeling, right? Okay, let me feel into this. One moment. Wow. The first thing that comes to mind right now, it's, when a horse is, pulled up to stop from the galloping, and of course it would lift up its front legs and balance on its hind legs. And that's what this imagery here of this Capricorn is, showing me, this full moon in Capricorn, where it looks like it is lifting up its, its front legs to take a pause. And that is exactly what happened. But as much as I'm saying that this is, let's say, it's pausing from galloping, this could also be at the start of, at like the starting line, and you like getting ready to charge forward. So there we were at the beginning, talking about the world and, cycles and how things could, turn out, either starting, closing. And if this, as this cycle, this tough cycle is coming to an end, and it's actually approaching us. So it's more like actually a finish line. So, oh goodness, confirmation burp. Imagine starting this journey or this reading at the finish line, but then you are like, again, approaching it. So it's like you're seeing the finish line, but then at the same time it's saying that like you are not even, it's not even set in stone. It doesn't mean that crossing the finish line in whichever position means you are the winner, but it's a matter of saying that once you do cross this finish line, that period, that cycle, that experience is over, but then you are still being called to move steadily towards it. And with the white horse being ahead of the dark horse, it's to say you are leading with the light, you are leading with love, you are leading with your purity, you are leading with your vulnerability. So it's like you've got your heart on your sleeve, And I mean, you don't leave the I would say, the darkness behind. You don't leave the aspects of you that are perhaps ego driven, or like you don't leave your anger behind. You don't leave just the emotions or ways of carrying ourselves that others maybe would deem as unfavorable. So maybe like your cheekiness, again I mentioned ego, but your I don't know, I would say pride in a sense, your confidence. I mean, depending on how you flex that muscle, how you use it, but it's a matter of saying that like the things that you've learned in your experience, right? You don't kind of come across as pushing that energy or that vibe or that agenda forward, but then it's because you have been through this experience of dark and light where you can lead with your light. It's like, because war, you lead with peace. Because hate, you lead with love. I hope that better explains it. I feel like I was kind of like going off there for a second. But the other side of it is, oh wow, okay, Spirit is actually saying that this end of this finish line, or this separation, is actually you leaving the darkness behind. So it's like that period or that cycle is what is being left behind. So the dark horse is being left behind as the white horse goes ahead as well. So which parts are being left behind? Okay, but there's something to this card. Okay, looks like we're going deeper again. Okay, wow. All right, so let's just go deeper, because again, like I said, we need to start on this side. So I'm using this Archangel Power Tarot cards deck. So yeah, let's see what's up, because I don't know, something's just really like getting at me about this. It feels like, okay, I'm missing something, but we're gonna see, right? First card at the back before I shuffle, we've got King of Raphael, and I think this is King of Cups. I was about to say King of Water, but it says warm, generous, honorable, refined, and it says, yes, it is safe to trust, the ability to accomplish many things at once, follow your creative passions. But then this was in the reverse when I pulled it out. So wow, it looks like, again, all this stagnation is being like left behind, because again, it's a time to take action. It's a time to move forward. Just okay, Spirit saying, let's just take it. But I do want to get one more. Please give me another one. Okay. And then we have Change Your Life in reverse. Okay, no, sorry. We're taking this one as the upright, Spirit is saying. Okay, so this one says Archangel Camuel. And it says, a sudden revelation that offers freedom. Break free of procrastination. Embrace the opportunities that change brings. Wow. And we're not just talking about change. Whoa. I'm looking at this building or this structure over here, and was I not just saying earlier about a construct to deconstruct? So it's giving tower energy right now. So it's like, wow, okay, so things had to, again, fall apart to fall into place, which is, I love saying that, because when we think about a tower moment, it is a sudden upheaval. It is a changing of our structure, of our foundation, of what we once thought was firm, what was once stable. And that could be this structure, this community, this family, this tribe, right? So we now find out this new piece of information about this family. Like maybe somebody's done something, some information is brought forward. Or again, it's kind of like sad news, but let's say somebody passes away, or maybe good news, somebody gets married, there's like a birth in the family or something like that. But it's coming across as like a tough cycle ends because there was a particular person in this family group or dynamic tribe community who was pushing a particular narrative or agenda. And that particular narrative, agenda, or whatever energy that they were putting out was affecting your life, your ability to take action within the things that you were doing, pursuing, or perhaps even aligning or attuning yourself with. So this is a recognition to say, yes, you've separated from the group. Yes, now you are at a point where you can take action. And because your initial point to take action was that recognition, like I was saying, the first answer to what is the universe saying was a recognition to say, yes, you are eligible for this opportunity. You are in tune or aligned with this energy. But then there was something that didn't allow you to respond or recognize it for what it truly is. But then that connection was made. So here's this connection being made, but then the chips didn't fall yet. Things didn't align yet. Things were not set in stone yet. And now it's a matter of saying that the chips are falling into the right positions or into the right places, further aligning you, or again, like we're seeing between these two sets of cards, clearing the path or creating that divide between what was and what is. Oh, okay. You see how this thing all just like comes together and explains itself and all comes together? It's beautiful, like just trusting that I could feel, okay, there's more to this energy. I'm trying to like deep dive into it, but that there's something else. But okay, Spirit is saying one more. Okay, so at the back of the deck here, we have the Ace of Michael. This is coming across as like the Ace of Swords. And it says, a wonderful new idea. Don't allow bumps in the road to hinder your progress. Clear up communication problems with others. Wow. And there I am speaking to how we respond. And it's a communication, right? So you clarified your communication with the universe, which is also very much clarifying communication within yourself, with your guides, with your spirit team, with God, angels, ancestors, all of that, because communication is bi-directional, right? You're speaking, you're listening, not only to yourself, but to this external source that could also be speaking or listening, because that there's an exchange of energy that's happening here. So you get to speak to yourself and decide what you want to do. You get to speak to your guides, and you also get to speak to this particular group or the people in this group about where you stand in your stance. And with it being the Ace of Swords, or the Ace of Michael in this case, it's to say that you've decided to take action on this thing. It's a new beginning, because again, you crossed the finish line, but it's actually the starting line. And it's beautiful to view endings as beginnings as well, because it's an opportunity to do something else, something greater. I'm thinking about like people who even do marathons, right? Because there was this guy who recently won a marathon, and there was an opportunity to like speak to him at one of these events that happened at work, right? And granted, he spoke about how great it was to win the marathon, but he likened his preparation and experience going through that marathon as something that we all go through in life, which is our determination, how we set goals, how we follow through with those goals, regardless of the trials and tribulations which may happen, the tower moments, the sudden upheavals. One day he's up early to run the track or go do his practice, and other days he has to push himself to do it. But then this new idea, it's ready for you to commit to it. This new way of expression, this new way that you want to now conduct yourself by and align yourself with as well. It's just waiting for you to commit to it. And the commitment is what is going to set it in stone, because that is that energy of it being established, right? And it being firm. And then, with me even thinking about it being set in stone, and, me taking this as like the Tower card, it's to say, hey, you can now create a new foundation. And even before, like while the cement is still drying, you can look at it and like make sure that it is what it is that you want it to be. You have a chance to let it take shape and form, kind of like put it into a mold, you know what I mean, before it sets or before it hardens. So even during the hardening, of course, there's a period of monitoring it, to making sure that, okay, it's holding the shape. It can still meet it does, sorry, not can, because we know it can because you did it, but it's still meeting the requirements or the the specifications of what you have created it to be. But this is just you standing on that. I mean, look at this character standing on this pillar. So it's like, there you are setting the foundation, and now your ideas can be built upon that, because before, wherever they were going to be built was clearly affected, or there was an energy that was bringing about stagnation from said group, tribe, community, gathering. Wow. Okay. All right. We're going to leave this card over here. But okay. So thank you, Spirit. That is the what was, right? So I'm actually quite interested as to why Spirit was giving us all this context. Okay. So we are getting this context because we have the Four of Raphael, and it is the Four of Cups, and it says here, seek out other possibilities, look for the magic in life, be aware of your own emotions. Wow. Okay. Ooh, and I just got all these shivers. So interestingly, there I am wondering, like, okay, but wait, why are we getting this message? Why are we getting this context before? Why are we getting the was? And there I am saying, why? So it comes through as though there was a lot of deliberation, there was a lot of questioning as to perhaps why the energy didn't align, or the preparation to align with the energy, and then also perhaps why things didn't pan out as you initially perceived or thought that they would. Because imagine you have a dream that you're going to be a millionaire, and that millionaire opportunity presents itself, and then just before you cross the finish line, like we're saying, something happens to set you off your track or off your path, and it's a matter of saying that you are still eligible to be the millionaire, but there was something about that particular race or that particular path that wasn't the path or the race for you to achieve that. So maybe one person can be a millionaire running a marathon, another person will be a millionaire through the lottery, another one will start a business. But you get what I'm saying? Like, the paths to the destination or to the experience, to the energy that is desired to align with or attune with, there are many ways to get to that. But in this particular case, this was you learning more about why the circumstances were not correct, more especially about this group. So it's to say, let's say you wanted to do something with a particular friend group, and then you now lose those friends because they wouldn't have been good friends for you in that more leveled up or advanced states. Maybe they would have been jealous, or they would have been the ones to destroy or tarnish your reputation, something like that. There I am thinking about, okay, bringing it back to the family, right? It's like, there's that saying, like, how don't do business with family, and keep your business and your family separated, because they could easily blur the lines and try to pull rank on you within the business, whereas you're making business decisions, but they use their rank of being whichever family member, aunt, uncle, brother, sister, niece, nephew, whoever, to get their way in certain things. So again, with me asking Spirit, why are we getting this message? It was for your acceptance to understand the dynamics. Was I not saying earlier about how we view family? What is family supposed to be? So this energy was packed up because from birth or in the past, there was an idea of how people come together, or an idea of how people work together, or how you would have liked it to be, quote unquote, supposed to be. But then you get to see that not only was that a opportunity for you to learn about yourself and why you needed to move differently, posture differently, but then also you learning about these people and also what to avoid. It's like, once you are with somebody who's like a backstabber, now you kind of know what the backstabber traits are, and when you now align with new people, you don't align with people who backstab, or people who lie, betray, cheat, steal. I'm just thinking about Eddie Guerrero right now, rest in peace. But it's that type of a thing. So there you are, having seeked out other possibilities and knowing that those possibilities are still available to you, but not with this group, not in this place. and so beautiful that you've left it behind and you haven't taken the action was you knowing that firstly, I'm going to keep pursuing these goals, possibilities, these dreams, but then also having the viril, the drive, the determination to work through this and not stay in the stagnant place, which is a beautiful thing. So this Four of Cups is coming through as like the bridge, because now you've accepted your past. Again, I mean, like I was saying earlier, there was like your dark, your light. Those experiences formed part of who you are, and it's like you can forgive, but you don't forget. Not in a sense of saying like you don't open your heart, so you don't let your heart lead, you don't have space for people, but then you learn, and repeating the same mistake would be like kind of stupid as well, or okay, bad word, but let's say indicating a lack of discernment. I think that's better suiting. But then ultimately, I'm just saying, like, you don't want to make a dumb decision. That's of course not to degrade anyone, and I'm considerate to how that word might be received. But yes, that very same thing to say, what is your intention? And I believe you leading with your heart, leading with this open mind, and knowing that you want good not only for yourself but everyone involved, means that you have the eye to notice or pick up on those things. All right. Okay. Right. Spirit saying, let's go. So we've got 6 of Raphael, 2 of Michael, and we've got 4 of Gabriel. All right. And at the back of the deck, we have perspective. Oh, wow. So I'll start here at the back of the deck. So this perspective is coming through as like hangman energy. And it's saying here, there's a better way. Pause for reflection and insight. Dare to be different. It's weird that like I'm seeing it like this. It's also giving me, what's this card? Like the 7 of Swords, where it shows like, the person in the front with the swords, and then it's like the circus as well, like that they are leaving from. And again, with the huts, it's giving me the tents, right? It's giving me that saying of like the tribes and so on. So imagine both of those cards actually together. So it's like the Hanged Man as well as the 7 of Swords. That's the kind of energy that's coming through here, or like aspects of those energies, right? And wow. You get to see not only your life from a different perspective, but you get to see the group or the tribe from a different perspective. And, with this even coming across as there's a better way, it's giving me that this was one way to go about this energy, but now you find that there's a better way. So it's that, again, that realignment, that retunement, that reposturing. So yeah, I think there's something else to this, but okay, let me just keep going. All right, so here we are on this side, right, which is the present. So this was our past part of the message, and in our present we have balance, spirituality, and practicality. First thing that's coming across is balance being the number 2, and after the balance, it's like this is the instruction, and like this is how the balance occurs, which is how it's coming through right now. And I mean, this is in the middle of the reading, so kind of like the centering or grounding message in a sense. Over here we have the full moon in Pisces. And did we not just come from a full moon in Capricorn? Yes, we did. So 2 full moons so far, 1 mutable, and we've got another cardinal. So 3 full moons, cardinal and mutable. Okay, I think that might relate at some point. And underneath that we have a man holding a coin. All right, just put this here so you can check it out. And we have the 6 of Raphael, which would be the 6 of Cups, and it says, embrace your inner child, new friends or rekindled relationships, children or childhood. Wow. Okay. Oh goodness, how this feels for me is like, earlier I was talking about like this family or this group of people and how you can like forgive them for they know not what they do type of an energy, or forgive them for, not being the people that they were in the past. But now it's like, hey, maybe here's someone from your past who shows up and you guys get to, start all over again. But then also, maybe if it's not a rekindling with someone, let's say like, one of these business partners or one of these friends or one of these relationships that you had coming back and being rekindled, it's a matter of saying like, you can recognize that in this time, now that they have returned, granted their energy is different, but then you are not going to, again, make a dumb decision. You are not going to repeat the past mistake or have that lack of discernment, because it takes you out of balance. It's also coming through as like, you are now more in your masculine. You are more determined. I was speaking to Viril earlier on, and that, of course, is, very much I would describe it as a masculine feeling or emotion. And I was about to say a masculine feminine. So it's coming through as like, the masculine is able to be the masculine because of the balanced feminine as well. So it's coming through like that. But it's like you having stepped into this version of yourself, this version that has balanced spirituality and practicality, where like the spiritual side would have been the feminine, but practicality, wow, that I am saying like spirituality and practicality together, because you've integrated this thing, right? And oh wow, look at this. Even in this card here, we're seeing both a male and a female figure, and it's the mermaid and the man, so in water and on land. Goodness, my throat is going. And there we have this Capricorn. Wow, my voice is so cracky right now. Wow. Goodness gracious, what's going on? But yeah, even with this full moon in Capricorn, we can see that it has an integration that's taken place within it, because it is the ram or the goat, but then it's also wow, my voice just like cracked for a moment there. Well, not for a moment, it's still happening. It's a mermaid here on its back, right? But yo, goodness, guys, that must be so crazy for somebody who's just been like listening properly throughout just to hear my voice changing like this. But anyway, here is this integration point having taken place or occurred. And wow, the more I look at it, this rekindling to me is coming across as, because it's a young boy and a young mermaid and a young boy, right? So it's like you meeting with a younger version or part of yourself, and that part of yourself, which was, let's say, the innocent one, the one that was dreaming, the one that was hoping and desiring this energy alignment or attunement to occur earlier. It's like being like a child star, like let's say I'm thinking, okay, here's an example, like Little Bow Wow. Like Little Bow Wow became a popular musician when he was still young, or he could have become Bow Wow like now, a popular musician in his older years. Granted, I mean, it's two like different times in the world that we live in, but I'm just trying to make that example of saying like Little Bow Wow and Bow Wow is the same person, but then in this present time, that star power is still being connected with. It's how it's coming across. So again, just apply it as you see fit, right? But your coming together of this energy, you retrieving this blessing, you honoring your inner child, you honoring your past for all that it was, allowed you to move forward balanced as this full being. Because it's like if this opportunity met you in your older version without being balanced, it would have thrown you off balance. And interestingly, I mean, there we have like full moon in Libra. So it's like balance achieved already, step one, and then you are going to go and proceed and make this bold move here. It says be bold and make the first move. So this is showing that balance has already been achieved. And, just even like looking at this progression of these moonology cards, it's to say, you were this ram, this it's giving very much earth energy, like Capricorn, Aries, Taurus. Like, you had this charge, this life force energy, but then you needed to wait for the right cycle for things to align. It's like, the forces that be, the powers that be, this alignment within yourself, the alignment outside of yourself, as within so without, and then that balance within now starts to reflect externally because of this energy that you've now been able to maintain. It's also giving like a conjuring energy, that you've learned how to work with the energy, which is this spirituality and practicality, knowing when to be more masculine or feminine, also knowing when to be more spiritual or earthly, right? But you are now stepping into this version that is knowing that anything that you do has like a spiritual component to it, which is why I was saying that the masculine is enveloped or supported by the feminine. So you are now, this is coming through as like a king of goodness gracious. I was about to say King of Wands, but this is the King of Pentacles coming that way, right? It could also be a person or even you stepping into that version of yourself that is now making more money, that is more established, because now you are ready to have the money, be in control of the money, be a steward of the money, or again, this blessing. Because this could be something that, with the Six of Cups, like something in the past, something that was given or forgiven, like destined for you to have. But who are you now? What version of you did you need to become? Because it's not about just having the thing that you want or attracting it, but becoming the person that can have that thing. An example I'll make is to say, you can give, let's say, $1 million to a beggar on the street and give $1 million to an accountant, and both of them are going to handle that money differently, because the one has more knowledge and skill as to how to make it last longer, or put it to better use. And that's just me speaking crude. Of course, I don't know what the accountant's life is like, what the beggar's life is like. I'm just showing the difference to say that in two different walks of life or two different paths, given the same opportunity, people would handle it differently. But within your life circumstances, it's coming across as you have now matured to be the version or the person who does handle it better. So in this case, you are the more knowledgeable one, the more equipped one, because of the balancing. And it's like you even like learning from experience. It's like, touching like a hot plate and then you burn. So the next time you don't do that, or you chopped some vegetables and you cut yourself the first few times, and then after some time with some experience, you don't do that again. This is bringing me back to how we started this reading, about like how I gave this example about, how somebody asked me the same question and I got to answer it two different ways on two different occasions. It's like that, where it was the training, now it was the test. So you get this chance to step into this energy, hone in or embody this energy because of this work that you had done from the past. So it's like all of these cards here, granted, of course, this is just a connection card, but like all these cards here are like the foundation, and now it's like building up to what this is here. So which is, you set this foundation with this past and you changed it and became new of this new idea that it gave you, and then you evolve into this version, and then now you can now start to work with this energy. Oh goodness gracious, just getting more confirmations there. So thank you, Spirit. So it's like this whole side ended up, your whole past, your whole previous experience, what didn't work out before with said group or even within yourself, right? That is now what came to form part of your foundation, those learnings, those lessons, and then there you are moving forward into, oh wow, okay, I bumped over the Temple Path card, and right behind it we have the Yin Yang card. So interesting, right? Things coming into balance, working with the energy. And there I am, like looking at this Yin Yang card and looking at the two fish here for the Pisces. So again, Yin Yang, dark light. It's so important. It's been coming through so much, especially like in readings of late, about how the importance of balancing energies, knowing like how much to give, how much to keep, how much to exert, how much to recover, how much to restore. There's so much within the polarities of life, the opposites of life, because it's really about having nuance. It's about having like taste, having a like tact and approach, being very deliberate. And we're in this era where you can't like not be deliberate, where every action is thoughtful, methodical. It's like you're at war, you know what I mean? It's like, what's that, like 48 laws of power, or like Sun Tzu type of a energy, where if you are going to make a move on the battlefield, why not have it be your best move yet? And the moves that were made before, they were maybe less planned, less thoughtful, less provoking, less strategic. I'm thinking back again to the survival reference of like how you would, let's say, vote out a certain person from the tribe. Before the tribe has spoken, what was your heart? The heart has spoken, the mind has spoken, the guides have spoken before the tribe has spoken. It's like everyone again had that opportunity to speak within themselves or connect within themselves before sharing their their idea, their approach, their strategy, their consensus to the group, before the group comes to a consensus. So it's like you have an agreement with yourself before you even express it. You are so certain about something within yourself that by the time you even put it out there, before we get into this move that's going to be made, you are so certain or so confident in it that you are bold. Interestingly, now I'm being again, allow me to be neuro-expansive, right, and just jump around here. So there I was saying, like, quote unquote, your confidence could be kind of looked at as a bad thing, which should have been like arrogance. But then when you are bold, it's that confidence refined, or it's that arrogance with a purpose. You know what I mean? So it's like it comes attached with this complementary or supplementary energy that further refines it or justifies it. So your masculinity is balanced by your femininity, right? And then this is where this yin and yang came together, because if you were too much in the feminine, these disagreements or these misalignments would occur. And if you're too much in your masculine, the same thing all over again. But because now you're coming through with both of those energies, it's even like coming across as like people don't even know how to approach you. Or like, this is like, again, if I'm thinking about like the art of war and Sun Tzu and things like that, it's like, hey, we're about to confuse the enemy because they think we're gonna keep coming at them with this approach, this strategy, this combo, or this attack maneuver, procedure, formation. I'm thinking about in like sports where, like let's say soccer, where they, go into like a formation like 3-4-3 or 4-3-1-2 type of a thing, and they might decide to define you by that, and then the one time you just like switch it up and you like switch up your formation. So that allows you to be a viewer, an observer of the energies, and not like allow the energies to take control of you as well, because now you as the observer understand that like emotions are transient, things are fleeting, and you don't have to have them envelop you or overtake you from being the version of you that can discern and realize that, oh, this is happening for me, I can adjust. I don't have to assign myself or define myself by this experience, but rather what can I take out of this? And I was saying there rather, but what? And I was saying rather. So it's again the alchemy, right? It's like you're gonna take the energies and put them together, and here it is happening 2 times. So it's like going into that cycle of review to say, maybe let me try this, but then you review that energy. So within yourself, that deliberation that you are doing within yourself, it's like it's going through this churning process, this tunement, this refinement process of weighing up these pros and cons, and it's very much leading into this next set of cards, which is, the win-win outcome is being forecast. We have the World as well, and then we have what did I pull out here? The Two of Michael, so which would be the Two of Swords, which would mean that because of this balance that we've achieved, and now knowing that we are going to win. So this is, for me, again, a win for both your masculine and your feminine, a win for both your light and your dark, because both are being well represented and being brought forward. It's not a matter of like one precedes the other, whereas they are partners, right? So both your spirituality and your practicality are honored in the decisions, choices, paths that you take going forward, because it's balanced. So both of them are served. And then that's why we have this moon, or this world, now being presented in this new face. Oh, wow. I'm thinking like the face of the moon. So it's like a facade, what is being presented. So you get to face as well, like approach, like, when you're facing something, you head forward, you like direct it towards it. But then also the presentation, like how does it face? How does it appear? What is the front of that? Yo, this is interesting. Wow. It's very, like, I would say opportune time. Like, it's ripe. It's a ripe time. It's a good time for this balancing to occur. Because, here we are seeing the scale. It says win-win. We have 2 horses, and now it's 2 light horses. So how it's coming across is to say that, like, those parts of you which were dark, one being like people that you left behind, or just things that you don't want to be part of your experience moving forward, but then also even parts of yourself, and even like new people that you meet, or the parts that are being rekindled, are now meeting in this lightened form, in this revived, this rekindled, this restored or recovered form. You can kind of think of all the re's, because it's happening again, or it's getting another opportunity. But 2, again, the second go around, the balancing of this. So there was a previous attempt to balance, or there was a time you were in your masculine, or there was a time you were in your feminine, but it's just coming across as this is the time for both parts to be served, and they are both equal. With both of them being light horses, it's to say, like, that there's no one that, like I was saying, that takes precedence over the other. So both parts of you, both parts of this attunement or alignment, adjoinment of energy, get to move in tandem. And I do see them, they're not like fully exactly the same in the depiction of this card, but it's coming across as, those aspects, granted they are now renewed, recovered, restored, revived, but they are both still bringing like some energy to the whole situation, because it's, what's that saying, like 2 minds are better than one. So you add more brain power, you add more strength, you add more effort, and that can of course accelerate the progress, or the process of how something plays out. Here it says at the bottom, it will all be better if you just make a decision over analyzing a problem and finding a compromise. So if this, there I am saying if, because for some people, like, there's another side to this where they don't take this path, and that's like the interesting part about us looking at this energy, because it's a snapshot of what the energy is right now. So there are some people in this collective who are seeing this message who will take a different path or it's a matter of saying that, let's say one path is you follow through with what you wanted to do, and then the other path is you don't follow through. So it's still like up in the air as to how are you going to answer this the second time it comes across as. And I'm being led to, this is why it says be bold and make the first move, because this is coming through as like guides, angels, ancestors, our guardians kind of coming across to say you can do this, but it's going to need you to take action, to take the step. And there we were I was saying that there's a correlation between how it starts and how it ends, and I was being led to this action card to say, if you could take the action to leave this past place and learn what you needed to learn, why not take the action now to step into the, like, whatever set of cards, quote unquote, would be coming after this, which would be, what does it look like when you now do what it is that you meant to do? But with this win-win situation, the world, and two of Michael, it's like there's a situation or an opportunity that's going to present itself. You know, let's say you always, I'm thinking about like an actor. You had an opportunity to be a child actor. Now you have a chance to be an actor as an adult, or, you know, more advanced in your years. And somebody just like tells you about like a casting call, you know, or like an opportunity to audition for some new show. So when this opportunity presents itself, it's again the win-win, because your readiness meant that it was attracted or brought into your reality. But now can you kind of sum up that courage and not procrastinate, not be that version of yourself that would, you know, not take the leap in certain chances or opportunities as they present themselves, and then take that leap and then do whatever it is that you need to do. And it's going to just fall on you to make that decision, because the universe is going to test you like, hey, we've given you this opportunity. Do you want to take it? Do you want to go for it? And you just deciding to leave the past in the past, knowing that you're no longer going to like repeat those old ways of doing, of being, of even conducting yourself, you know, like that old version of you left it behind. Because most importantly, when I asked Spirit, why did this happen? It's because you needed to accept the things that needed to be left behind. So you deciding to be the new version, to face, right? To face the truth for what it is, to face it like, oh, wow, that is something that I was doing wrong. Maybe I was self-sabotaging, or again, me sticking with that old frame of mind, or with that old group, that old person, that old relationship, that old idea of what I thought was going to be my tribe, my community, is what kind of set me back. But now I'm ready to do something new. All right. And then here at the end of the reading, just touching on this, I mean, I've been kind of jumping back and forth between this card, but it says, be bold and make the first move, the cardinal moon. We have the door to romance. And wait, the yin yang had the number 22, and now we have door to romance, number 33. Oh, goodness, another confirmation, bro. Wow. So things are in alignment, things are leveling up. Master numbers for 22233. And then the 4 of Gabriel. And it says here, time for a celebration, abundant rewards for hard work, release yourself from burdensome situations. This is coming through as the 4 of Wands. Wow. Whoa. You know, with me just seeing all the love here and like, you know, this group. Wow. You know, this is like, wow, this is so interesting. Like somebody could be falling in love all over again. Someone could be, let's say you've given up on love, or like, imagine this, right? There we started like with a rekindling. So it's like, let's say you met someone when you were like, I don't know, primary school, or like, you know, kindergarten type of a thing. And then you guys meet when you're older. And when you meet when you're older, now is the time for you guys to fall in love and have this new experience together. You know, you guys could have been, you know, like high school sweethearts type of a thing. Like I think of that because it's what's common, where people, let's say, meet in high school. Not common, but one of the possibilities. Let's say you meet in high school and then you like grow and mature together. But now it's like the universe set you guys up to come together when you were much younger. however long ago, but it didn't work out back then. And then now you meet in your older years, and then you actually get to, enjoy each other's company and whatever is happening. Wow. This is interesting. And what's kind of coming through with this energy, it's like you and this person kind of spend some time reminiscing, like, hey, remember when we were younger and you were still a mermaid and I was still Peter Pan? I'm just thinking about the things that you were interested by, the things that maybe how you conducted yourselves. And that was perhaps like a reason as to why you also didn't like see the connection or the correlation between why you guys were meant to be together. But it was that combination of like people of like two different realms, two different worlds, who were actually meant to complete each other's world by finding that union or that overlap, because what the one brings the other doesn't have. It's like you complete each other ultimately. But then now in your older years, you start to understand or appreciate each other's differences, and that's what completes the puzzle. It's like you and this person wow, it's like interestingly how this whole is like flipped and like jumped into like a whole love reading from me thinking about this being like a family. And I was thinking about this family, this group as an actual family, but now it's coming across as like even like a relationship, like all your past relationships weren't the ones that you were going to have a family with. Maybe you thought, okay, I'm going to get married at a certain age, have like children at a certain age, establish my forever and after at a certain age. But then all those people were not meant for you. Like it's like you even learning your type, you learning like what floats your boat, what kind of person would actually be a suitable or viable partner for you. Wow. I mean, Spirit, right at the end of the reading, here you are coming through with this. Wow, what an interesting dimension to add to this whole thing. And I guess this is also like one of the interesting things about like these collective readings, because it's like certain energies come through more than others at certain points. And I'm being reminded of the thought of like where energy goes, focus flows, where there are certain energies that would be more prevalent or more present at certain points in time, but now it even presents itself as like, wow, this whole situation that you had gone through, because now, oh my word, it's like it's actually everything all together. It's like, imagine you're supposed to like meet with the love of your life, right? And then the reason why you don't meet with them the first time, or the things don't align the first time, is because of another friend or a third party energy, or you not having developed or become the version of you that can maintain this thing. So it's like, here you were still a cheater, you were still you were still a girl in the streets, you were still a playboy, you weren't set or firm on what it is that you truly wanted. And you get what I mean? So like that maturation, that life experience, that learning, that discerning kind of puts you in a place where you kind of let go of all those things, the distractions, the friends, the bad influences, and again, even people who would have been like jealous of you, people who would have blocked you or limited you, and got in the way of this union, this relationship, this energy. I think it's easy to explain as like a love relationship because it's like two young people here and then two older people here. But I mean, this could be, again, a blessing of some kind. And with me even looking at this as like the Four of Gabriel, it's like you just remembering your past and what initially drew you to wanting to be the star. Like, I made an example with acting. I made an example with Bow Wow and the music. So it's like you remembering why you are who you are, your star power, you stepping into your King of Wands, your ability to wield your strength, wield your power. Then you now meet with this energy and it's like everything is flowing, everything is in tandem, because again, the balance has already been achieved by the point that we get to this point in the reading, or in the snapshot of the energy, right? So then you make the bold first move. It's like you approach the girl, you apply for the opportunity, you go to the casting call, you release that project, that album, that that artwork. You get what I mean? It's like you decide to put out the energy because now you know that the time is ripe for that energy. So using that example about the war, now you know, hey, it's time to strike. This is my time and my opportunity. And what that does is it opens up the door to romance, meaning that, can you allow the universe to love you back? Can you open up your heart? I was saying earlier about letting your love lead, or letting your light lead. And because your light opens up the door, I mean, how crazy is this? Look at this. Look at this. Where is it? Here we have the two of Michael with the two light horses, right? And on this door, there are two white hearts. And then on the inside of the door, now it's like combined. So it's like these two energies come together. It's like while you were busy preparing and becoming and evolving, this ideal partner was also preparing and evolving. This ideal opportunity or this ideal situation was also being created or conjured or being prepared just as much as you were. And now it's a time where there's a meeting, there's a joining or a union to say the perfect timing has met the perfect opportunity. And what is that saying? Like, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So it's coming across like that. Like, this is like a lucky era, a lucky time, a lucky period. And when you see that it's time to make the move, like it's coming across as like, like the door, like you will see that, hey, here's my opportunity, or feel, or whichever sense, but it's coming across very much as like something that you're going to see. And it's like, you see this opportunity and you realize like, oh damn, here's my opportunity at love again. Here's my opportunity at stardom again. Here's my opportunity at that $1 million business idea and executing it all over again. And then you take the leap and you go for it. And then, you being open to the love, putting the love in it, allowing the universe to love you back, then wow, there's marriage, there's unison, there's harmony, there's celebration, there's graduation. You always wanted to get that degree, get that car, get that house, and then everything just aligns because the universe is saying yes this time, whereas at first the universe was just recognizing you, right? So wow, nice way to kind of bring it back full circle, where you are now just in a better position to make the most of whatever's happening in your life, whatever decision you want. I think we all want different things, or you want many things. And I think it's just a beautiful time and opportunity. I was saying it's ripe. It's like the soil, the land has been cultivated for this now, this adjournment, this attunement, this alignment to occur. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, but just going to the back of the decks before we close off, right? We had have the temple path in reverse, and then of course behind that the yin and yang. The yin yang, we got into that, right? All the balance, all the harmony between masculine, feminine, the dichotomies, the polarities, the opposites of it all, the spiritual and the practical. But then the temple path in reverse, this is reminding me of what I mentioned earlier about that recognition of how anything that you do has a spiritual aspect or component to it, where you are going within yourself first before you are going outside of yourself. So this is a reminder not to forsake that the temple path, the path to, again, enlightenment, starts within, and then it kind of reflects outwards in this balanced approach, or you letting your spirituality lead how you conduct yourself and the things that you do. So I think that's powerful right there. And then at the back of the Moonology deck, it says your dreams need a practical plan. And for me, this is coming across as a culmination of what we're seeing with the Moonology cards that we already have on the table, because there I was saying there's like an earthly energy like Ram, Aries, Taurus. And look at this, we have a full moon in Taurus. So this is actually like the fourth full moon, because I wasn't counting this and I felt the energy earlier, but here it is like presenting itself now. Once you have the plan, you've closed off or ended this cycle, you now decide how are you going to move forward. I'm getting that, again, that war analogy, that strategy that Sun Tzu is to say, you're not just going to keep attacking your enemy or the opposition, your target, your goal, your plan the same way that you did before, because you learned from those past experiences. Maybe it was impractical, but now you make it practical. There's something about there's a phrase that I read today, and it's about like declared goals, where it's saying that once you put out the goal, the fear of losing becomes greater than the fear of even winning or getting the thing, because as human beings in this time that we are in now, losing hurts more, so it's that drive that pushes you. This is a statement from this book that was recently released by Adrian Gore, the guy who is the CEO of Discovery. So it's very interesting that, like, once you make this plan, you practicalize it, you kind of put it out there into the universe, you've actually now done that, that communication, this Ace of Michaels, you've actually communicated it into the world, to yourself, to those around you, whoever you're going to work with, to say, your guides, your angels, your ancestors, like, guys, this is what we're doing, and this is how we're going to do it. So I think that's wonderful. That's amazing. And then, look at the bigger picture. Time to take your shot. Time to take your shot. And I mean, I always say that arrows need to be pulled back before they are like thrust forward. And were we not just saying that, we started at a certain point, we went back, and now we're moving forward? This is beautiful how it's just, being presented again here to say that you seeing the bigger picture is to say these past experiences could be looked at as like a setback or something that, delayed you. But like a previous reading that I did here on the channel, to say like desires delayed are not desires denied. It's about who you are becoming in that aiming, in that pulling back, in that refinement, in that attunement for you to hit that target, that goal, that that thing that you were aiming for, or hoping to achieve, align with, attune with. So wow. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at this. I think this is a beautiful message, man. Like, as always, what we do here on Roots Holistic, we take the journey within. And I always say, if you want something more specific to you, please do hit me up. Details at the bottom. And if this resonated with you, please like, share, subscribe. And thank you to everyone who's already doing exactly that. It is very, very much appreciated. I send all the good light and love and, all the positive energies. I send them all your way, man. And, when I say that, I always think of like, because we're balanced, we have light and dark. I'm not going to say I'm sending dark your way, but I would ask you to observe it, to learn from it, at the very least. And again, just in closing, coming back to this card, the perspective, can you just see it differently? What can emerge from the light? What can emerge from the dark? And then how do you integrate those two? So let it be great. Thank you as always for joining me, and have a beautiful start or rest of your day. Peace. Thank you.